The following program is hosted by immature, irreverent, obnoxious, and often disgusting young men. Listener discretion is advised.
This time on Nude Clan, she's a killer queen, gunpowder guillotine, dynamite with a laser beam, guaranteed to blow your mind anytime.
Player to another. Dark soul light. Turn on the TV, pick up the controller and play some games with the new clan.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Nude Clan, the video game podcast that brings you the best of entertainment in this dire quarantine hour. I am your host, Caleb Schweiss.
Caleb Craig.
And Cameron.
And today, guys, we are going to be reviewing the Switch version of a game we all know and love, at least the three of us, Killer Queen. This is what, like Killer Queen Black Edition is what it's called?
Yeah.
So we played we played the original one as an arcade game. That's its original format at the Barcade quarters here in Salt Lake City. Of course, we can't do that right now. So the next best thing, we thought, was to buy it on the Switch. Yeah. And you can, we'll discuss whether or not that was actually the case as we go along within this episode. But that's what we're covering today. So also, if anyone wants to play that with us, we have it all. We all have it now, so it's always open. The more the merrier when it comes to that party game. But before we get into any of that, what else have you guys been up to this week?
Oh, let's see. Played some COD and some Final Fantasy VII Remake and some Star Ocean, and that's about it.
How do you feel about that remake so far?
I also played that Animal Crossing.
Ooh, one of us.
Hit one of us. The Final Fantasy VII Remake, I don't know how I feel about it. I put 7.5 hours into it, I think, and I kind of don't like the battle system. I don't like that it forces me to switch between the characters, especially because, like, the other two AI characters don't do jack shit. They do not help you in any way. They don't heal you. They don't use items. They don't use their abilities. You literally have to tell them to do everything, and they just kind of like passively sit there and just do nothing otherwise, which is really annoying. I don't like that at all. I also don't like the new mechanic they've added of like having any random creature being able to fucking lock your dude down, forcing you to switch to another character to like beat that monster off of your character.
Beat him off.
Yeah, you have to beat him off. But yeah. I don't know. I don't really care for that. And the idea that like magic is locked down behind the ATB gauge, as well as using MP, really is frustrating. Because it's like, why? Because magic is like super important in this game now, because like they made it like 13 where you have that stagger system, so you have to use their weaknesses against them. And of course their weaknesses are always elemental based, so you have to be using spells, which you can't because you have to wait till your ATB gauge is filled up, which, it's more important to basically heal you than to like slam them with magic. And then you have to use that with magic, and then it takes away an ATB gauge as well as some MP, which really sucks, because then when you need to cast a spell and you're running out of MP, you have to not only wait to be able to cast that spell, you have to wait till you can use like an ether on yourself and then cast the spell. So that takes both of your your gauges away, and they take forever to like fill back up. It feels like it feels really clunky and not well thought out.
So you think they maybe needed to make it more like 13, where it's you just have one or the other? It's not really it's just a gauge.
At least with the AI helping you, like it would take away some of the frustration, because like you gotta heal yourself.
Change the priority of the AI. Or
No,
change
you
what
can't.
They do?
The AI just kind of sits there. Like there's no option to change that except for like if you change the difficulty, and then like the AI gets smarter and will do stuff for you to make it easier. Which is really dumb, but no, yeah, they don't do anything, especially with like the new importance of magic in this game. Like, you have to have healing items because you want to conserve your.
You can change their battle preference.
There's only if you change the difficulty level. I have looked, and others have looked, and there's no way to change it, as far as I know. But yeah, like, so, I have the healing spell, but I don't want to use it because if I do, then it takes away MP from me to be able to, like, slam an enemy and put them into stagger. So I have to basically, like, and then high potions, which are really important right now because they give you, like, 700 health and I have, like, 2,000 HP, and they're the only potions I can get, and they're, like, nobody sells them. And if they do, like, it's in quantities of 3. And so it's just not enough, and so I have to be using the healing spells, but I also have to use my ethers like a ton because I'm running out of fucking MP to be casting these spells at dudes. And of course they're all weak to various different things.
Right.
It's just kind of annoying. I would have liked some smarter AI like in 13, or like if you use the Libra spell or whatever, then you like know their weaknesses, and then the AI would be smart enough to be like, oh, okay, now I need to use this kind of ability on this kind of enemy.
Yeah, 13 is a really good, has a really great battle system, because you just kind of set whatever class they're doing, and then they'll do whatever the most pertinent thing is for that class. So it's a really good, 13 has a really, really great combat in it, and it sounds
Honestly,
like they kind of met in the middle between 13 and 7, and according to you, they kind of didn't capture the best of both worlds. They sort of made it an awkward amalgamation of both worlds.
Yeah,
is what it sounds like.
It's basically that. Like, it kind of would have been better if they just kind of stuck with like 13s, but like made it more, put more emphasis on the materia, and then I don't mind the ability to switch between characters however I want to,
Yeah,
because that's pretty sweet. But yeah, they just don't. There's no backup from them like at all. They just kind of like sit there and attack until you tell them to do do anything else, including healing. And there's even a materia specifically made to have your guys heal themselves, which is stupid.
Oh, really? That's weird.
Yeah, it's called auto heal, and if they have like get below a certain amount of HP, it'll be like, oh well, now that you can, if they get below this or this amount of health, they'll cast cure on themselves until they're back up to another certain amount of health. And
yeah,
and then it's like, oh, but it can only be used like 3 times in a fight, and then until you level it up, and then it's like up to 10.
My question to you guys is, should I pick up the OG Final Fantasy VII on the Switch?
I think you'd like it. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's a good game.
Plus, it's not completely turn-based. You have like the action gauge instead, which like when that fills up, it means you can do a move.
Yeah, I think you'd enjoy it.
Battle. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a good one.
All right, so
there's some stuff in there that's kind of funny. It's like mistranslations and whatever, but
so I can either pick up Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII Remastered, 9, Then there's 10-2 remaster. I don't know. I should pick up that one. Just
Nope.
which Final Fantasy should I really begin my journey on?
Honestly, I think the one that you'd like the most out of the oldest Final Fantasy, or the older Final Fantasies, would probably be 12.
Yeah, 12 is my favorite. I don't think it's the best, but
12's a
my
great
favorite.
one, and it's not... I know you don't really care for the turn-based, and that one's definitely not turn-based.
yeah,
It's not on the Switch, I don't think.
It is.
it is. The Final Fantasy 12 Zodiac Age is what it's called. And that's on there. It's a great one. I've almost bought it again for the Switch myself, honestly.
Yeah, they
Just
have
paid
something.
for the
They
game
have a
a
new
third time.
feature on the Switch that makes it so you can like change the jobs if you want to, instead of being locked in like we are on the PS4.
Ooh,
Like
it's
at
a
the
$50
beginning,
game,
so-
though.
Yeah. I think it was on sale like 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah, just keep it.
your
Just
sudden
keep
interest is like, oh,
Yeah, it's a little late. All right, well that's cool. I'm excited to get into that. I'm
you played the
still
demo,
stuck.
didn't you?
Yeah, we reviewed the demo. Yeah, Joe and I.
Yeah, so you should have an idea of like what I'm talking about with the battle system.
Yeah,
Although it's
Yeah,
it
it
was
seemed
probably
okay,
easy enough in the demo that like you didn't really notice it. And I know a lot of people haven't really noticed that the AI doesn't really do anything until it gets to like harder fights. So
yeah. Well, we'll see how I feel about it. That'll be a fun one to play. What about you, Cameron? What have you been up to?
Well, this past week, really only played Call of Duty, a little bit of Doom, and then Animal Crossing.
hell yeah, and
Very nice. Very nice. For me, it's been nothing but Doom Eternal. But honestly, I didn't even get that much time to play it, so I feel like and we're reviewing it next week, too, so I need to really kick it into high gear. I'm a little over halfway right now. Still playing on Ultraviolence, and I'm starting to pick up all of the collectibles in each level, so that's adding a little bit of time. It's not really that much time. The biggest time sink is just dying.
dude, I'm positive there's not a trophy for playing it on the hardest difficulty. So you should probably bring it down a bit, especially if you're looking for all the side stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the side stuff isn't really affected by difficulty, other than the, super
The Slayer
fights that
gates
you run
will be.
into. Oh, I know they are. Those are brutal.
Oh, the last two are disgusting.
Yeah. I love how the game doesn't even introduce me to some of the enemies until I go into a Slayer gate. And then it's like, hey, here's this new guy you don't know how to deal with. Good luck. It's like, oh, fuck. Really? Those and then the optional encounters sometimes are fucking brutal, too.
Oh yeah, the ones where you
Like,
the
it'll be-
timed ones where you have to like kill a bunch of dudes in a certain amount of time or whatever.
Yeah, the timed ones. Those, I mean, because, there's one where it was on the way to go meet Samuel Hayden, the mission right before that. So, the Gore Nest, or not Gore Nest, the one after Gore Nest. And it was a cacodemon, the guy that spawns the
Skulls,
flaming skulls, yeah, and then
The-
a spider, and then
pain, something.
yeah, and that one was brutal. And the problem is the checkpoint was so far back that I'd have to kill a bunch of stuff to then get to that fight, and so I'd have to make sure I had enough ammo and health and armor with those initial dudes before the fight to actually survive the fight. And then sometimes I would not die on the fight, but I would use all of my ammo, and so then I'd have to start the fight up again and then die and then respawn, get all that ammo back, get all the armor back, and then go fight it again. And because I failed 3 times, it ended up taking forever compared to what it should have, but because of the checkpointing and shit like that. I think it should checkpoint you whenever you start one of those things. That would be a lot nicer. So you start the special conflict or whatever, and it checkpoints you right in front of it. And that way you have all the shit that you had when you were ready for that fight, instead of checkpointing you 3 minutes before, and then you have to go kill a Pinky and a bunch of the super guys and then some other random shit. because it's just a lot of prep work. And then sometimes I would forget to get enough ammo, and then I would just die. And it's just like, fuck, dude. I want to lower the difficulty, but I also don't want to be a bitch, so... It's my own pride that's making this thing take forever, is really what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Well, Zach played at the same difficulty, and he still beat it reasonably fast.
Yeah, well, Zach has a lot less going on than I do,
That
too,
is
so...
true. That is true.
Yeah. And maybe he's better at first-person shooters. I don't know. I honestly haven't played that much of it, though. To be fair, it's because I haven't really had the time to put into the game.
You think you can beat it in the next week or so?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It'll be done. It'll be done in the next week.
Okay.
Guaranteed. So, I think that's it for me. I mean, I played Killer Queen, obviously, because we're reviewing it today. But other than that, it's pretty light week for gaming for me. I didn't pick up Resi 3 again or Final Fantasy 7. I want to give those... I want to put those on the back burner, take out Doom first, then pound through Resi 3, and then I'll play the 7 remake. So hopefully in this week, I hope to beat Doom and Resident Evil 3, which is supposed to be like super short. And only one character playthrough.
Short?
Yeah, it's like 5 hours.
Oh.
It's like really short. Yeah. So that'll be nice, and I'm excited to get into those other games. There's just a lot of stuff coming out like right around the same time. So I've been a little busy, but so we know what everyone has been playing this week, but the real question, the only question, has anyone beaten a game this week? Craig.
No.
Cameron.
No.
And nothing for me. So the hog remains as the hog is. Craig in the lead. And Cameron and me tied. And then Zach. But I think that'll start getting shaken up here soon. But we'll see. Who knows? Who knows what the future holds? Maybe Zach goes crazy and becomes King Hog.
Maybe.
Maybe Craig goes crazy and becomes Emperor Hog. Who can say? So, one quick announcement before we get into the episode, the review of this fucking Killer Queen. What we're going to do from now on with the podcast, because of time constraints and because of the quarantining and pretty much everything that's happening, we're going to start recording every other week. So what will happen is we'll do our off-topic episode and a video game review every other Sunday with the After Darks and or book review, depending on where that lies. So we'll do our game review, and that'll just be that game review. We won't talk about what we've been playing for the last couple weeks. It'll just be the review, and that's it. But the off-topic episode where we discuss like a game studio or do a D&D campaign or something like that, one of those type of episodes, that'll be the episode where we give you guys our big gaming update for the last couple weeks, tell you guys what we've been playing, update the games beaten list, so on and so forth. We're doing this structure change to give us every other week to spend with family and other things like that, as well as kind of like make it easier on the quarantine. Because it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough on us to not get together for the show. Like, it's a big part of the show, and right now we all feel like it's safer to not do that. In case one of us does happen to get sick, then we're not spreading it to each other and everyone we know. I mean, you guys as parents are immunocompromised and the kind of older, and I don't really see my parents, so I guess that doesn't matter for me, but we don't want to have one of us not showing symptoms and then get one of us sick and then, possibly cause some serious damage to a family member. So to deal with that and also to deal with the time constraints and give us more time in our personal lives, we're going to do it. We're going to do it that way starting next week. So we'll have kind of an episode in the bank, but we'll just release it a week after. And that'll kind of be what we do from now on. We've discussed it, and that's the best plan we can come up with. So keep that in mind. It's going to be a little bit different structurally. I think it'll be a good change because the review episodes will be a little more concise and succinct to the review itself. And so it'll be just that game instead of like a bunch of stuff beforehand that we always do, which is still fun stuff, and I want to do it, but that's better for the off-topic episodes. So just so you guys know, that's going to be a bit of a structure change going forward. It won't change, honestly, it won't change that much. What we've been playing will probably just be longer every other week because it's 2 weeks worth. So just keep that in mind. If it seems a little different, it's because it is. But yeah, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk some Killer Queen, guys. Let's dive on into that. All right. So this game is...
our first introduction to Killer Queen was, in the arcade fashion. It was, a cabinet game that we started playing at a, barcade up in Salt Lake City. And even though it's an arcade game, it's very strategic. Like, there's leagues around playing this game and playing it well. And even though the mechanics are simple to get used to, and the 3 different victory methods, you can understand them. But the strategy itself and how you employ that is very nuanced, and it's very deep.
Yeah, it's a arcade platforming game that has multiple methods of victory. One of them is the economy victory. There's like little holes by your base where you have to pick up berries and then put them in there. I don't know how many holes there are. Is there 12?
I think it might change based on the map. I'm not quite certain. I wasn't
looking
at that.
I think it does.
Yeah, there's certain maps where the berries are closer, so that would make sense. And then there's a bunch of different map changes which will affect that, because on one map there's half of the hive will be up top, and then part of the berry storage will be down on the very bottom. And then another victory is the snail victory, where there's a snail in the middle of the map. And the goal is to get it to your side of the entire map, which can be interrupted by a number of ways. You can have an enemy sacrifice themselves in front of you, so your snail starts eating it. It'll be slower. It takes forever to eat the dude. So and then that gives enemy warriors or the queen time to come kill you, to save them, or to just stop you from moving the snail further. And then there's military victory, which is killing the enemy queen 3 times. There's a number of ways to do that, because there's a bunch of different warrior classes that your guys can change into.
In addition to the different goals, there's several gates scattered around the map. And if you bring a berry to those gates, it'll give you a power-up, such as a warrior power-up or speed boost. It really just depends on what your strategy is. If you want to, if you need more warriors, which is generally a good thing to help you, help the queen fight, or speed boost if you just want to really, get an edge on economy. And then other strategies.
The speed boost also affects the snail as well, and goes twice as fast. So that's
nice,
pretty nuts.
Yeah, so the game was developed by Bumble Bear Games, who also published it, and it initially came out August 2nd, 2013 for the arcade.
Really, 2013? That's
yeah.
I'm honestly surprised by that, because I've never heard of it until Cam brought it up
it was
a few months ago before he went
as an arcade game. So
what?
It was only an arcade game for a long time.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it being as popular as it is, I hadn't seen it in any video game news anything. So that's kind of surprising to me, especially the fact that it has leagues around it, and it's 7 years old now.
Yeah, it's a big deal in the underground kind of community, which is an underground community anyway of arcade game players. So it's kind of like a real niche thing. So the game initially premiered in 2013 at the New York University's 4th annual No Quarter exhibition for indie arcade games. And then, of course, we played the Killer Queen Black, and that's what we're reviewing today. That was released in 2019 for Microsoft Windows and Nintendo Switch, and is going to be coming out later for Xbox One. So this game on the Switch has only been out for about 6 months. So yeah, and we were excited for the Switch release because we knew about it when we played this a while back for
Yeah, we had
on the arcade.
so much fun playing it at the bar that when we heard it was coming on the Switch, it's like, oh guys, like this will be a lot of fun to pick up on the Switch and, you know, just fight amongst ourselves or do some online matchmaking and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then of course it took us like forever to actually do that, but
Yeah,
it's
we
usual,
didn't
but
buy
yeah.
it on release. But you know what? I
Yeah.
think it came out as like what, $15, and we bought it for like 10. So I mean,
yeah, it's not a bad price, and it's a lot of fun for sure. I love the image on the Wikipedia. It's Killer Queen being played at Brewcade in San Francisco. So this seems to be alcohol and arcade equals Killer Queen. It's like the love child of those two things. This is the end game of all barcades worldwide is Killer Queen, which is one of the downsides to playing it on the Switch.
Is that it's just not the arcade game, but still.
Yeah, I feel like the art itself is different, and then there seems to be more variety in basically what the gate power-ups can provide than the arcade booth had. But
Yeah,
again, it's
yeah,
been
and
a
that-
minute since we played the arcade one. Who knows if they have an update?
That is true also. So there's not a story in this game at all.
Because honestly, it's
It's an
just
arcade
about
It's
gameplay.
an arcade game, but more than that, it's just straight up a competitive scene. It's really just around, like, you can see why leagues are built up around this really fast, just because it's just super competitive, and there's a ton of strategy that can go into it. And it doesn't need a story. It's just, that's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
you know, one of the more interesting things about this game is like I see a lot of influence from Joust in it, and I fucking love Joust. So, because like the main thing of Joust, if you guys have played it, is the controls are basically the same as the warrior and the queen, where you know you have to keep pressing a button in order to have your ostrich fly around. And your goal is to, like, lance the other person without getting lanced yourself. So, you know, you gotta hit them in, like, a sweet spot without getting hit. And that's kind of, like, the same goal in this game. Where, like, if you play as the queen or the warrior, you know, you gotta fly around and you have to keep pressing, like, the B button in order to keep jumping up and flying around. And then you press A to, like, forcibly go and attack. And then, you know, the queen can overpower you, can move faster, so it's like you gotta really think about like how you're gonna move. And then the queen can also do like a down dive, which makes her really deadly.
Yeah, so when you start the game up, you have like the option to play a local game online, play against bots, all of that kind of shit. But when you go into the game, you get to choose between a couple different classes. It's either the queen or kind of a worker bee, right? And then you can upgrade those worker bees into soldiers by collecting
Or
berries.
super workers,
So
yeah.
or super workers, yeah, depending on which class you'd like to do. And you start out the match, and it's one queen and 3 workers on each side, and you can either go grab berries, which are placed along the map, and then bring them back to your hive and fill the holes in your hive. And when all those holes are full, you win an economy victory, so an economic victory over the opponents. You can kill the enemy queen 3 times, and that's really easy with the queen, but you can also upgrade your workers into warrior bees to make it even easier.
Yeah, and there's
Or
a
you
strategy
can jump
in that as well, because since a queen dying 3 times is a loss, I feel like it's better economically to send warrior bees off to fight the queen instead of your own queen, just because the risk there is, it's huge. Because if you lose a one-on-one, then you're losing the game. But if you lose a few workers, they can just one-up and come back and fight again.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, yeah.
And then there's also a bunch of different types of the warriors, so they can have a certain amount of advantage. Like there's
the different type of warriors that exist on
warrior.
the arcade one, but yeah, I kind of like the addition of these different warriors.
Yeah, there's
the
like the
Switch.
sword warrior, the gunner warrior guy, and then the mace warrior. And they all have different effects. Obviously, the gun guy shoots directly forward, has a limited range for his gun.
It's longer than the screen, though.
Is it longer than the screen?
Yeah, because if you shoot off screen to where there's not a wall there, then it'll actually come around on the other side of the screen. The one drawback, though, for the gun is it has a huge cooldown time before you can use it again.
Oh, okay.
So that's why you don't see them rapid firing. They just have the one sniper shot, and then maybe 3-4 seconds before they can shoot again.
Okay, that make all right. I've never played as the gun one, so I didn't know what the timing on that was.
And then the mace guy, he just swings that mace in a circle. Then that mace swing gets faster, but then the circle starts to get smaller. So he's really good for defending a spot. Like if he's camping on the snail, like if your dude's about to move the snail.
And the timing
towards the
for
snail victor,
taking him out is when the mace is behind him or going right under him.
Right.
So you want to take him out before it comes back around to hit you.
Yeah.
And then there's the traditional sword one, and he can attack faster, but his range is very close. But he can exploit openings better than the other two.
Yeah, because he can dash forward, whereas the other two guys don't really have any movement speed.
Yeah.
So that's a bonus for him, too.
Another thing that the queen can do is those power-up gates. The queen can go around and lock it down to their color. And it's, to close it off to, the opposing team. And so it's really clutch to do that when the snail is closer to your side and you don't want the other workers turning into warriors to impede the progress of your snail, so the queen can lock it down.
Yeah, and then
the other queen
you just
has to
kind of
come
harry
back.
their queen, so they can't change them back. So it really forces them to go for either a different type of victory or to try
If
and
the
help
gates
their
are
queen
locked
out
down,
somehow.
it's almost your queen can't open them back up. It's basically you're basically shut out of the game every time that happened to us.
Yeah.
Just because you can't compete.
I did notice that I don't remember if this was a thing in the arcade version, but if you're a warrior or if you're a worker, you can jump on the heads of the queen
And that's
and
a
the
huge
warriors,
strategy.
and then
Yeah.
it pushes them down and away so that you can.
It's a great
So it
strategy
helps.
if someone's going for a friend that's on the snail to just a warrior coming in, queen coming in, you just jump on their head and, basically block that attack. Another strategy is you can sacrifice a normal worker to the snail because the snail will have to sit there and eat it, and while it's eating it can't move forward.
Yeah. That's really brutal too, because it takes 3 or 4 seconds for them to fully eat a dude.
Oh yeah.
So it really slows you down.
And since there's these 3 different things going on, everyone's moving on the screen at the same time, and everyone's trying to kind of focus on their thing. It's someone can sneak in a victory if you're not paying attention.
Yeah, it's kind of a clusterfuck. So you got to have map awareness, otherwise you're gonna lose in some way. So if you're on the snail, your whole thing has to be making sure nobody else is fucking you by secretly grabbing a shitload of berries, or locking down all the gates. You gotta call out stuff if you want to have a chance of winning.
The most common victories that we came across are the military and the snail victory. Economies, I don't know. Like there's so much strategy.
Economy is like a snake thing. Like if you have nothing else like going on, you can sneak a couple in there while everybody's battling. Otherwise, like
I guess it just depends on like if you and the other team are kind of like at a stalemate. You're just trying to struggle to find the upper hand. Having the economy getting close is just one other thing that the enemy team has to pay attention to.
I feel like in the arcade version, there was a lot less slots for the berries. Because I feel like the economy win was a lot more common there than it was.
Everyone was
on
also
the
kind of
console.
drunk when playing the arcade one.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Economy is a little easier when you're under the influence, I would say.
Or people just don't pay attention to as many things when they're drunk than they do sober.
Yeah, that too.
The economy can be done pretty easily if we get good at like throwing the berries, because that was a thing that I didn't even know existed.
Oh yeah, that's in the arcade one too.
Because like you can just throw the berries from a distance, and if it like happens to hit an open slot, it'll go right in there. It won't. So it gets locked in. So that's pretty sweet. I did that a couple times, but we didn't get any economy wins.
And then being able to change your strategy based on the map, and then being able to...
Yeah, there's like 6 different maps that have widely different loadouts. There's one specifically where like the only way to get to like the top half section was to like fall in the pit, like in the middle of the bottom section.
Yeah.
So
and then in the
like
arcade
that
game,
wrap
and
around in classic
possibly
arcade games.
even for the Switch version, it's like positioning, especially as the queen, is so important. Being below the enemy queen opens up just another avenue of attack.
It's super dangerous, especially since the queens can do that down dive.
Yeah, so the queens have more. They're faster. They have a better ability to attack.
More mobility.
But they're also a huge target, and you can often get ganged up by several worker, fighters, and then the enemy queen. And it's just like positioning and making sure that your gates are open for your people to use. It's just very important as the queen, because if you sacrifice yourself, you're setting your team back.
Yeah,
Right.
So queen's definitely a very stressful position to play.
Yeah, I've still never played as Queen.
Did you never play as queen on the arcade one?
I don't think I did. No, I was always a worker.
I like being. I
don't know.
I like being a warrior worker.
Yeah, I like being a worker too. You get the customization. You kind of get to choose what path you take, what victory you go towards, and I liked the economy one a lot on the arcade version. On this one, it's not as good. I think Craig's onto something. I think it takes longer to get the economy victory here, and like we never had a single economy victory or a single economy loss today. In all the games that we played.
We did actually have one economy loss, but that's because
we lose?
We were playing against a bot, and all he was doing was like farming the berries, and everybody else was like focusing on the queen and the snail. Well, that one guy was just doing that the whole time, and we didn't even notice. But that was the only time.
Okay.
It was only one loss, and they never did it again. So.
Yeah, so like even the bots don't want to do economy.
Yeah, I feel like the economy is a really passive thing on the Switch version. I swear there's like more berry slots on Switch. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was just like the maps we were playing on the arcade one. It seemed like it had less. But yeah, definitely not as many economy versions. But yeah, I think we could try for that more with the throwing ability, because that's kind of hard. It's also kind of hard to gauge because you can't really aim with the throwing skill either. And I noticed that if you try to bounce it off of a wall, it doesn't really go that far. So you basically have to like really nail it with the throw.
Yeah, it's strategy within strategy in this game, and we're not very good at it either.
No, I think there's a reason why I don't know if you can count this game as beat, but we didn't say it was beat just because we're not that good at the game. We got to a point where we could reliably win against bots, and then we decided to play some more online. Because the first time we were online, we were fucking trashed. But there's just so much strategy that goes into it that is not innate to us yet. It's not natural. So I feel like we definitely should put in more time.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And you guys should join us. It's only $10 on the Switch. Tweet us and we'll give you our Switch codes.
It'd be really cool to do the 4v4 with listeners. Get us all in a party.
Yeah, maybe do one of those Saturday stream days with this game. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'd be really down for that, actually. Because even though it was frustrating, just because it's hard to learn the game, learn your role, and try to do it, I feel like once we get into it, once we have everyone playing, laughing, it'd be a very fun time.
Yeah, I agree with that. It was the group thing that made it so fun in the arcade. So it
was being like right next to each other and like that drunken energy. It was it being like shuffling each other because like it's really close. Because those cabinets are like not very big, so.
Yeah. So it was. I don't know. I like this version of the game too, but I definitely prefer the arcade one.
It's basically.
I'll say
it's
it
like,
right now.
It's like what we're doing right now. It's like the difference between recording in the same room and playing in the in somewhere else.
It's the in-person energy.
Right. It's just not quite the same. Yeah, I need to play it more. I need to try the Queen. I need to get better at the worker. Even I don't know. There's a lot to it as far as like getting really good at it, but it is a simple game too. So it's a perfect arcade game. I mean, that's all arcade games are, right?
Right.
They're really simple ideas that you have to get really complex with to get really good at. And this is a great one. I'm excited that the arcade games are still coming out. I mean, this thing is a few years old now, but I was surprised by the 2013 release date of the arcade one, and I'm glad that it's still going strong with a 2019 release on the Switch and soon to be Xbox Game Pass for Xbox. I don't know how soon, but it is supposed to come out for that. So,
well, if it's on Windows, then it shouldn't be too long.
And I also saw that you can friend people in the game using the game's ID, person ID. So I think cross-platform is a thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. It sounds like it would be if you can do that. So that's another good plus. Yeah, I like it. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess
what would you give gameplay? I guess because that would be the biggest thing here, since we're not including story. Or how do we want to do that?
Well, we just take it out of the equation. We just make it out of 80 instead of out of 100.
All right.
It's what we've done before.
Yeah. Fuck, I don't know. I think I'd probably give gameplay on this version of the game. I'll probably give gameplay an 8. I think it's pretty fun. I think it has a lot of replay value. I know that's kind of a spoiler for later, but it's got good mechanics.
Is replayability. Yeah. I mean, gameplay and replayability, but it has great mechanics. I feel like, I don't know, it might be better on another console. I just feel like there's not too many controls. The biggest problem I came across was with the Switch online play, the enemy queen tended to, I don't know, kind of like blink around a lot, where it wouldn't be smooth movement. It'd be kind of, jerky, not rubber bandy, but like not be where you expected the queen to be based off of, where it looked like she was going.
Yeah, it wasn't a super smooth experience for the queen from the looks of things.
So personally, I was going to give it a 9, but thinking about, I don't know if it's the game's fault, but I'm probably going to give it an 8.
All right, what about you, Craig? What are you thinking?
I'll give it a 9. It's pretty good. Like it's like any classic arcade game. You know, it's got those limited controls, and then you have to get good within those limited controls. Because really, all you can do is move, jump, throw, or move, jump, attack. That's literally all you're limited to, and there's no other. There's nothing else. Like, you have to get good with those specific things. There's nothing I can really see them improving on, other than maybe like something with the economy victory. The fact that it has like 3 different versions to 3 different ways to win kind of makes things a clusterfuck. So you got to really pay attention. So it's like
it's planning with your team that makes all the difference. People got to know what their job is and what the strategy is, but then being able to switch it on a moment's notice.
Yeah, it's a lot of chaotic fun, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure. What about the graphics and design of this game? What do you guys think of the look of it?
I enjoy it both on the the cabinet, the arcade version, and I actually really like the graphics on the Switch version. It's very pixelated,
was it
like
not
pixel art. And I just feel like it really fits with this type of game.
Was it not pixelated on the cabinet?
I'm trying to remember. I don't remember it being super like. Maybe it's just
might
I'm
have
noticing
been
it more because
smooth,
it's smaller.
But yeah, maybe I don't know, because like I also really like it pixelated. I feel like it really fits it, and it reminds me of like the classic arcade games that I used to play, like Joust. Those are all pixelated games, and the pixel graphics are great. They don't really age, because like there's a certain aesthetic to pixels, and I feel like this has a really good design.
Yeah, it's kind of timeless in a lot of ways.
I also like the BDSM suit on my worker. That's the one I go for.
Yeah. He's got like the little chest piece thing.
The leather X with like the metal circle in the middle,
Yeah.
Hold it together. Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, I liked this version of the game. Design-wise, I think it's
with the workers, as far as design goes, it's really easy to lose sight of your character if you're not really paying attention.
Yeah, but
that was
they
kind of
put your
tough in the
name
arcade
like
one
above
too.
it, so it made it slightly easier to see.
I mean, it's small, but it like just off of visual cues, it's kind of harder to find your character.
It was
the
definitely
arcade
harder
one
to
didn't
find
have
your
the name
character after we
thing,
were
so-
playing blue forever, and then we got randomly switched to yellow. That threw me off. Because like, not only were we switched sides, but we switched colors, and I was like, oh, where am I?
Yeah, if you remember right, though, the arcade version, you don't have any names above your character. It's just, you have to figure out which one's you.
Yeah. So there's that. But did we all play it on docked, so we had like the smaller screen? Because I feel like it'd probably be easier to like follow that if we were playing on the TV.
Yeah, it was undocked for me.
Yeah, same. Like, I played it handheld. Cam, I think you were too, because you got the mini.
The Switch Lite.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Switch Lite.
Yeah, so of course, the only mode it can. And really,
that dock?
the only... No,
Okay.
it's not gay. Just joking.
Well, no, does it have
Just
like
joking.
a little slot in the bottom?
Just
for,
kidding,
like,
it's totally gay.
No, it has the USB Type-C for charging, but I still would need a dock station to see whether or not it can. I could probably solve this question easily by looking online, but honestly, the Switch Lite is everything I wanted the Switch to be. It's,
a dock is like $25, I think.
and I probably
Same.
won't solve that question because I would have to buy a Pro controller or something like that.
Yeah.
And I don't
Yeah,
think it's
I don't-
powerful enough to push it to a TV.
Yeah, I don't ever dock because it's the whole point of this is to have a handheld to me.
I mean, yeah, that's
why I like
that's
the
all I
Switch.
wanted to be. It was an easy thing to play if I didn't want to play anything serious. And for me, the Switch Lite is perfect. It's like I paid as much for the Switch as I did for the PSP when it came out, and to me, it's filling the same role, except with much better quality games, like console quality type games, instead of just terrible fucking ports.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's I really hope they focus on like their art style more for Switch games rather than like going for graphics, because that
definitely
helps it more.
Yeah, having a cool, funky art style is what should be the Switch's forte instead of trying to play AAA games in, potato graphics. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree. I like the look of this one more than the arcade one, solely because there are more maps. The map layout's always changed before,
there
but
seemed
I
to
don't
be
remember
more game types that you could play on the arcade one, though. They would, throw random, team death matches at you, would throw, other type of stuff at you. But this one just has more maps, but all of them are the same game mode.
Yeah. I liked that. I liked the change up as far as the different maps go, like the snow map and stuff like that. I thought that was kind of cool. And it's really basic, so there's not really a whole lot to it, but it's just a nice little surprise in this version. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the game's layout changes each time to make it a slightly different experience, just to make it less repetitive, because it's honestly... It can become pretty repetitive, but the changes and the different teams and the team makeups and different types of victory really keep it fresh. But I like the way this one looked. I enjoyed it. I think you're right about the pixel graphics. I think they're timeless in a way. Maybe it's just they're just shitty, so they just look old and shitty, and they'll always look old and shitty. So at the same time, it makes them look ageless.
The art style for this game really fits it. And personally, I think it gets a 10 for its art design.
All right, 10 from Cameron. What about you, Craig?
I'll go for a 9. I noticed that you can switch between little costumes on the workers, but they only had like 3 of them. So
actually, changed mine to 9 because I keep losing sight of my character.
All right, 9's
is it
across
really
the board.
A graphics problem or a you problem?
Graphics problem.
Yeah, this version doesn't look as good. It's weird. It's. I think you guys are onto something with that. Like, I don't know if it's the size.
I feel like it's
although
the size.
if you blow up a small image, it makes it look shittier.
Blue, but what if they just change the shade of your character or put something on your character to help you pick it out faster? Different things that can be solved through the art.
Well, they had the different design.
You're not going to see the different costumes. You're not going to be paying attention to the amount of nipples your guy has because of his costume.
Not the nipples, yeah, but I can tell.
And
the
remember, the
difference
Switch
between,
Lite
like,
doesn't the Switch Lite have a
prison
smaller
outfit
screen?
And a fucking X.
Doesn't the Switch Lite have a smaller screen than the normal Switch in handheld mode?
If it
I don't
does,
know.
it's not by very much.
But I just feel like an extra visual cue to let you know where your character is, I feel like would be a lot better.
Than having your
Yeah,
name
I agree.
floating above you.
It's very small on my screen to see the name. Maybe like
I think that would be I think it'd be better to not have the name and to have
a floating arrow,
the color, or the color change or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm giving it a 9 too. I think it looks pretty good for the most part. I do think the arcade version looked better. But I think this
the arcade
game
version's played
it
on
served well.
It's HD played on a flat screen, so even though it's a cabinet, it's still like, air quotes, a cabinet, whereas it's a flat screen HD TV hooked up to whatever plays the game.
Yeah.
What if it's just a Switch inside the cabinet?
They had it on
Or
the
just
Switch
a PC
like right when it
inside the
came out.
cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
It's just they had the Nintendo Switch only released for Killer Queen cabinets in 2013.
They had
It's
the
this
Switch
huge-
come out before it was even conceived of.
Yes, exactly.
Well, they still had that Wii U. The fucking
The Wii U. Yeah. That's what made the Switch come to be.
Was
Nintendo
Killer Queen
finally
in the cabinets.
Yeah, it was exactly Killer Queen. You open up any of those Killer Queen cabinets, guarantee you there's a Nintendo Switch in there docked to an HD TV. That's all it is. The cabinet's just smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, the Switch Lite has a 5.5 or a 5.5 inch touchscreen, and then the original Switch is 6.2 inches.
So it's like 0.7 bigger.
Yes.
There you go. All right, so sound and music is the next category. What do you guys think about the sounds in this thing? There's not really music necessarily. I mean,
There is. You probably had it like turned off on your Switch, because it has some pretty pretty sweet music. I liked it. It's a little like techno and stuff. Plus, there's like little sounds like throwing the berries, and then like the snail moving, and attacking, and then the laser sound.
I think the problem is that I had the headset on. We're talking on PSN chat. So.
Yeah, you probably had your Switch like on low volume, and then you had your headphones on, so you couldn't really hear it.
I'm remembering the techno from the arcade version, though, and it's kind of cool. It fits the game for sure. It's like that old arcadey kind of techno music.
It keeps it upbeat and like really into it, especially like since it's kind of like a fast-paced game because you move pretty quickly, and then you like jump around and stuff. So, I mean, it kind of fits that. Like, I don't know what else kind of music would be better to go along with that, other than maybe like fast-paced metal.
The sounds do service like everything, like all of your attacks have their own distinct sound, like Craig said, berries, snails. So there's, as long as, with visual cues to know what's going on, there's sound cues. And so if you're paying attention, you'll know someone's hopped on the snail and moving it towards the goal. I don't know. It's just like it serves its purpose. I don't think it stands out in any way.
Yeah. It's not like amazing, but it does definitely fit that kind of like upbeat techno-y sort of thing. And you're right, it's all fast paced. Like everything is really quick in this game. Like you can win in like no time at all.
Oh, it's so fast if you're not paying attention.
Yeah. So the music does match that. The sounds are all fine. I mean, it's kind of endearing, just like the art style in the game. I think the sound and music kind of follow that. Kind of in the same vein as far as like classic style sounds.
Yeah. I think I'd give sound and music like a 7. Just because, like, I don't know if I could pick out any of the different songs. I'd have to probably listen to them all, but like,
I mean,
it all just kind of sounds like the same. I mean, yeah, but it all sounds kind of like the same techno. But I mean, I do appreciate that like each of the little things has its own sound, like the little death sound, the respawns, the berries, the throwing, the jumping.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's got as much detail as it needs.
Because I mean, I didn't hear those sounds before, like in the arcade version, because obviously that was much louder.
A loud
all
environment.
I was hearing was all I was hearing was the music, if anything else. So like being able to hear those little sounds is kind of cool.
I'd probably give it an 8.
All right, I think I'm going to follow Cameron with the 8. I think it all works pretty well. It kind of falls into like what I was saying about the graphics. It's kind of like the same level of endearment that you have for the sounds, because it's all just reminiscent of those old school games.
Yeah.
In the arcade, everything surrounding this game in the arcade is like influenced by, or is influential to this game. Especially Joust. I think this game is way better than Joust, but I'm not really a big fan of Joust either, to be honest.
How long? When was the last time you played Joust?
Probably like 4 months ago.
We played.
It's been this year.
4 months ago.
Yeah, they have it at the Nickel City here in Orem, and I played it, and I was like, it's okay.
I fucking love Joust.
Do you think his description that it gets a lot of inspiration from Joust is correct?
Yeah, I do. For the Queen's mechanics, yes. I would say so.
Yeah,
All right,
it's
so
the
the
queen and
last-
the warrior that are basically the same, except for in Joust, there's no attacking button. You just basically have to like fly into the enemy.
Yeah. So that part's so it's kind of similar. I can see that was one of the big influences, though. You can tell for the Queen's combat, but yeah, it's a little different because you actually have to attack in this game, whereas in Joust you just run into them with your pointy stick. That's pretty much how you kill. So last category, definitely the most important category for any arcade game: replayability. What's the replayability on this thing for you guys?
That'll be a 10
I'd
for
say
me.
I'd say it's a 10. Like, there's no.
It's just a great, easy game to get into, but difficult game to master. And so its competitive scene is huge. So if you like competitive games, you like playing with friends, then yeah, this game, 10 out of 10, you're gonna pick it up again.
Yeah, like you can play it competitively on the Switch version. You can play it online. You can do quick plays. You can play with your friends. You can play against bots to train yourself. Like there's a bunch of different ways to play it. I'm sure maybe they'll add like various other game modes if they want to, because they can always update it. But yeah, like it's got a ton of replayability just by being an online multiplayer game. Like, I mean, every Call of Duty game has a 10 out of 10 for, replayability, because obviously you're going to be constantly playing it. Like we do that anyway. It's one of our multiplayer games. Like it's basically the same. It's got that. It's like, oh well, we can play a couple quick games of this, and because the games are quick, you can like keep tricking yourself to be like, oh, one more game, because games last like 5-6 minutes and then it's done.
Yeah, the replayability is the bread and butter of this game. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10 as well. I think it's so fun. I mean, when we went to... I do think the arcade version is superior for multiple reasons. The environment is a big part of it, and doesn't quite carry over the same way on the Switch.
Alcohol.
The other big part is alcohol, yeah. But you can always add alcohol. But the thing is if everyone else is sober, then it's just not fair. You're going to get wrecked. Yeah. But this is a fun one. I mean, it's a blast to get together and to play this thing. I mean, even over chat, it was a lot of fun. Not even being in the same room. That's what this game is made for. It's made to be a party game. It's made to be part of your rotation as far as multiplayer games go. And I hope we get a chance to play it with some of you guys, because we all have it now.
If we, our listeners want to play with us, we will schedule a time to play together and to stream, and all of us in a party together yelling. It'll be fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. But definitely, replayability is it's beyond 10. Honestly, it's so fun to play. Even this version that I think is inferior, but not completely trash, obviously. But yeah, it's definitely worth the $10. It's a very easy purchase at $10, so you guys should pick it up.
Yeah, and go get drunk and play it somewhere that has it as an arcade.
That's right. Yeah, that's it for my final thoughts. You guys got anything else?
I'm good.
No, if you get the chance to play it in arcade fashion, please do. Just you find out where a cabinet is in your local area, and then go out of your way to play it.
Yeah, totally agree. All right, so let's recap the scores for Killer Queen Black Edition. Cameron gave gameplay an 8. I gave it an 8, and Craig gave it a 9. For graphics and design, it was 9s across the board. For sound and music, 8 from Cam, 7 from Craig, 8 from myself. And for replayability, 10s across the board. Total score, a 35 out of 40 for each of us, which is 105 out of 120 for a grand score of 87.5. We round up to 88 out of 100 for Killer Queen. This is
It's a lot of fun. I wish it had some of the same magic as the arcade version, but it's just kind of impossible to capture that.
To have some of the same magic, yeah.
Yeah.
If it has local co-op, which I think
does.
it might,
No, it does.
then yeah, I think that right there would be
a lot of the magic recaptured.
Yeah, because like a lot of it is being like right next to each other.
So we just go over to someone's place, big screen, 8 of us, hop on. It'd be great.
Yeah.
If you crack open those cabinets under each of those buttons, it's just a wire or it's just a big lever thing pushing on a switch remote. Yeah, and a Joy-Con, and then the little knob that you use to move around. That's just a really really long bulbous Joy-Con.
And since this game is so simple, it'd be easy to play it with just one Joy-Con.
Yeah. Yeah. You just play with the one Joy-Con because all you have is the 3 buttons, 2 buttons and a stick. So that's all you need.
Yep, and that's all you need.
Is that an innuendo for cock and balls? 2 buttons and a stick.
And that's all you need.
It might be, but you could also make that like a video game indie band name. 2 buttons and a stick.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a great band title. You got to go out and make that band right now before one of our listeners steals it, Craig.
Gregor?
It must be done.
Did his headset die again? Probably did. Classic Craig move.
Yeah. Seriously.
He's probably still saying stuff, too, that he's recording that we won't hear.
No,
probably.
My controller fell out of my hands, and then the headphone jack came undone, so I had to grab it.
Could you hear us out of your TV?
Vaguely. I still have my headset on, so I could only hear mumbling. Really.
Oh,
my TV's volume isn't very loud, so
you don't pick it up on recording to double record us.
Yeah.
Just in case we start screaming obscenities and he loses his headset.
Well, I know the exact cue with that sound it makes when he disconnects, so we can start screaming as soon as we hear that.
Yeah, start making it sound like gay porn. Just start making a bunch of gay porn sounds, and then his mom will just be like, Caleb.
I love the little hints that Schweiss gives into his sexual fantasies.
Yeah, my sexual fantasy is pretending to be in a gay porno with Cameron over your TV to make your mom think you're a little on the wild side. Taking a walk on the wild side.
I thought part of your sexual fantasy had something to do with closets and peering out of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Schweiss's gay fantasies.
You can always get a laugh out of him to say that. It's every time. It's just so hilarious to Schweiss, and it's so hilarious to me that it's so funny to him.
Just that one picture of me on the snowboard thing, like with the cutout, but like all you can see is my eyes and my thin lips through the door frame. just huge smile. Little tiny sliver of light just showing me in there.
Oh God.
Yeah. There you go. That's all you needed right there.
Well, yes. If you have it on console, please let us know. We want to play it with you guys.
Yeah. And then stay tuned for the new setup for episodes. We know this one's a little bit shorter, but we had some arranging or just some planning problems this week, and then we also did it a day early, so we didn't have that day to prep for the show because of Easter. So we're recording this on Saturday. I'll have it released sometime Sunday,
and then also
or maybe early Monday.
Before we sign off, I wanted to go over have another game vote for Zach and I of the gifted games. Remember when we used to let people vote on games?
We don't want to do that.
So of the
Yeah,
gifted,
I thought we were an autocratic podcast now. I thought that was...
We're above
gifted
that.
games of the gifted games that were given to us that we're going to play anyway. I think we should nominate 4 and then let the listeners vote on which one Zach and I should play.
All right. Well,
All right, let's...
All right, Schweiss, pull 4 out of the hat.
No, I thought we already discussed which 4.
Did we?
Yeah, we got the... you might have been gone, but we got the 4.
I only
Yeah.
remember
So
hearing
it's-
3.
Oh, no. So it's Pimp My Ride, who was gifted to us lovingly from Angry Ass Black Dude. Thank God for Pimp My Ride. Joe actually bought this game years ago, and he gave it to me to play as a joke game on Nude Clan, and then hilariously, Angry Ass Black Dude sent me a picture, and he's like, "You'll never guess what this game is," and I was like, "Actually, I will, because I've got a copy of it from Joe. It's Pimp My Ride." He was amazed. He was amazed, and it was, in fact, Pimp My Ride. So that is one of them. We have the lovely, amazingly looking game that's probably going to be the next Galgun for Cameron. The Akiba's Trip, which, of course, we've been mispronouncing as Akiba's Strip for...
That's the joke,
Well-
because you strip the enemies before you kill them.
Yeah, it's a double entendre with the name of the game. That is the second gifted game that we are putting up for the poll. Number 3 is the classic, the beloved, the endlessly fun, and of course, classically amazing Mortal Kombat on the... What is it? The SNES we have it on?
Is it
Yes.
OG Mortal Kombat or Mortal Kombat 2?
I think it's actually Mortal Kombat 2. Yeah, it is. It is. Mortal Kombat 2 for the Super Nintendo. Another one gifted by the angry ass black dude himself. Very excited to get that going if that in fact wins. Those games, the campaign... I mean, I think we said for fighters a long time ago that it was, if it's a fighter and it doesn't have a story, you have to beat it with every character. Are we sticking to that, Greg?
You have to beat the arcade with every character.
So that'll be...
I don't know if we could stick to that.
That's what you have to do, Cam. It's only like 8 fights for the arcades in the OG Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
Plus there's only like 8 characters. Maybe like 12, but I don't know.
That is 8 fights each.
Yeah, 64
That makes
fights.
it... 64 is a large number, isn't it, Cameron?
But
It
it's
is
also
larger
not
than
going to
8.
take... It's not going to take, like 20 hours, though. So, be grateful for that.
Yeah, that's true.
They're quick fights in Mortal Kombat, so...
Time to get
All right, what's
good.
the last one?
The last one, the very famed and largely better, according to everyone, than the original Sonic 2.
I don't want to play another
so-
fucking Sonic game. Fuck
Well, Cam,
off.
I don't...
There's
I
also
said no
Sonic
to that.
Mania, so...
Oh, no, yeah, we said Sonic Mania.
Yeah.
Oh, is
We
it
did.
Sonic Mania? Okay.
Yeah. I said Sonic 2 earlier, and then we settled on Sonic Mania. That's right, I forgot. Sorry, Cameron, sorry.
Okay.
Sonic 2 is supposed to be way easier than Sonic 1, though. Which is good, because Sonic 1 is fucking brutal.
It's so hard.
Yeah, it's unforgiving in so many very different ways. But so those are the choices this week, guys. Mortal Kombat 2, Sonic Mania, Akiba's Trip, and I'm so excited if it wins, Pimp My Ride, the wonderful MTV release on PlayStation 2. Guys, go onto our Twitter, @NudeClan Podcast. Go vote for Cameron and Zach's next game.
Yep. Just
Next
tweeted
week,
it out,
we will-
so it's available.
there you go. Next week we'll be doing Doom Eternal's review, so be excited for that. Finish that game up if you haven't already, and we'll move on to Resident Evil 3 a couple weeks after that, and then we'll do whatever wins between these two games. We might hot swap those depending on everyone's timeline, but that's going to be the schedule for the upcoming few weeks. And
I'm thinking about tweeting out personally on my own Twitter. I'd want you guys to vote on which Final Fantasy game I should pick up on the Switch.
Oh, okay. There you go. So a separate poll exclusive to Cameron because he wants to try out a Final Fantasy game. Because you've only played Crisis Core, and that one's a weird one.
Yeah, it is. And I did beat it though.
Yeah. So we want to get him into the series. So let's get that going for Cameron as well. You can follow him at NudeClanCam. You can follow the show at NudeClan Podcast. Me at UFF Podcast.
Me at Obsidian Ba.
And I think that's going to be it for this week, guys. Until next time.
Live always nude.
Time to get good.
You stole mine. Live always in the nude. You
did.
Fuck.
You stole my fucking Twitter handle.
I did steal your Twitter handle. It's the thief cast today. We're just stealing everything from each other. Craig couldn't stop at stealing thunder. Now he's got to steal fucking.
It's the fucking
closing.
It's just the fucking cycle of retribution over again. It's just like you do something out of line, Craig has to retaliate, and now you're gonna fucking steal his persona for the next episode. It's just how it goes.
Yeah. It's like making copies on a copy machine. It just further it goes, the more corrupt it looks. Like the more askew things become. All right. Well, we'll see you guys next time.
How about a nice game?